Hello my friends, this is video number 10 in our Management of Information series. For more videos, please visit my Facebook page, Healthcare Quality. In this video, we will talk about how information systems add value to managers and decision making. First, how information systems add value to managers. The nature of management. Managers must constantly balance a variety of visions, needs, and constraints. They have their own visions of the organization's future, but they are pulled too by the vision, needs, and hopes of others who have vested interests. All this happens in real time, necessitating decisions and actions on a time scale that the manager doesn't control. In short, management is one delicate balancing act after another. How managers spend their time. Mintzberg studied the activities of chief executives. He found that the CEOs spend 69% of their time in meetings, 59% in scheduled planned meetings, and another 10% in unscheduled hallway or pub-in meetings. 60% of their time was spent on telephone calls and another 3% on tours. Desk work accounts for only 22% of these managers' time. At all levels, managers talk and listen. The overwhelming majority of management time is spent in verbal communications. These data indicate the characteristics of a manager's job. Social, spend 2/3 of time in meetings, have many brief encounters, constantly attempt to gain information, consider traditional management of information reports as not too important. Hence, any information system that takes a manager away from social activity for any length of time will be disliked and probably unused. Second, any way in which information systems can enable the manager to be more productive in meetings will add value. For example, many personal system applications produce documents, graphics, and other presentation materials to improve the information content of meetings. Also, electronic mail systems, which can be used to conduct meetings electronically and thus eliminate the need for some face-to-face meetings. Reports that show facts within a context are more likely to be helpful than those that do not. For example, a report of expenses compared to budget is more helpful than a report of expenses alone. A report that compares current performance to that of some prior period is likely to be judged more helpful than one that just shows current performance. We conclude from that managers appreciate information systems that help them communicate quickly and effectively, especially in meetings. They also value information systems that aid in assimilation and personal database systems. Information systems that aid the executive process, particularly decision making, will also be considered valuable. How information systems add value to problem solving and decision making. Problem solving and decision making are two of the most important activities in business. The problem solving process involves 5 activities: gather intelligence about problem, develop alternatives, select an alternative, implement the solution, and monitor situation and results. What are the decision-making models? Classical decision theory originated in the early 20th century as an outgrowth of classical economic theory. It assumes that managers are always rational, that they have perfect information about the problem and its alternatives, and that they have a complete specification of the objectives to be maximized. Such assumptions are never met, and this theory serves today only to mark an endpoint of a continuum of decision theories. Behavioral decision theory. It assumed that the decision makers have imperfect knowledge about the problem and its alternatives, and that they are unable or unwilling to make a rational assessment of the best possible decision. Instead of optimizing to find the best possible solution, managers satisfied to obtain a solution that meets a minimum standard of sufficiency. This is called bounded rationality. The constrained result model stated that the decision-making process often works backwards. Instead of freely identifying alternatives and rationally selecting them, decision makers begin by identifying one or a few outcomes that they deem acceptable. They then constrain the decision process so that it will generate one of these results. In some cases, the constraining is unintentional. In others, the constraints are placed intentionally, for example, to manipulate the problem-solving process, to maintain their own power base, to limit the growth of other departments, to protect vital assets, or to increase the size of their staff or influence. Information systems and bounded rationality decision making. The primary role for information systems is to expand the boundaries and to increase the rationality of the decision process. Boundaries can be expanded by obtaining greater intelligence on the problem, by developing more alternatives, by considering more criteria in choice making, by reducing the risk and increasing the speed of implementation, and by providing more knowledge about the effectiveness of the implementation. Communication and office automation systems can be employed to improve communication through the process. Existing information systems, including TPS and MIS applications, can also provide intelligence about the problem. Both existing and new TPS and MIS applications can be used to facilitate the monitoring of the solution. Information systems make the decision process more rational in 2 ways. One, information via office automation system applications is used to improve the communication between decision makers and those who have knowledge about the problem or its solution. This is especially important in group decision making when effective communication is essential both for an effective decision and for the implementation of that decision. Two, information systems can be used to generate and evaluate mathematical models of alternatives. Information systems and constrained results decision making. When the constraining occurs unintentionally, information systems can be used to make the decision makers aware that they are constraining or distorting the process. In cases where the results are intentionally constrained, information systems can be used also to manipulate the decision process. Much of this activity at least borders on the unethical. In these circumstances, information systems may be used to increase the power of the manipulator. For example, office automation applications can be used to censor input to decision makers, or large volumes of supporting data can be generated to overwhelm any negative data. This makes us aware of such possibilities. When you doubt, ask for corroborative evidence from historical data records and learn to interpret graphical presentations carefully. Information content is not measured by the weight of the paper or by the number of colors in a graph. Thank you.